everyone, it's Kerry back with you. I recently shared a photo on Facebook of some vintage tape that I had created. Now, obviously I was inspired by Tim's latest cello sticker tape, but I wanted to have a crack at seeing if I could create my own. Now, I've done it in the past where I've pulled off pieces of tape and I've stuck them on non-stick paper or plastic bags or whatever to go back and use it later, but I never go back and use it later, which is an issue for me. So I thought, how cool would it be if I just had a roll that was like sticky tape on a dispenser, and when I wanted to use a piece I would know exactly where it was and I would reach for it. So I thought, I'm going to have a go at making my own roll. I'm going to show you exactly what I did to create mine, and I'm going to show you an alternative if you don't want to go through the process. Now, the process is pretty simple. It's a little bit arduous if you want to do a whole roll, but you don't even have to do a whole roll. I just like the idea of having a lot available to use when I want it. You could still have a small amount on a sticky tape dispenser to use at your leisure, and you wouldn't have to do, a massive whole roll. You could just do a little bit. So basically all I did was, I have a roll of sticky tape here. This is 20 meters and it's quite a thin tape. It's a brand new roll. And I also have another roll that has housed tape at one point but is now empty. I keep these because they make great mark making tools for like jelly printing, or even just into an ink pad and then stamped on your page. It looks very cool. And all I did was I started by trying to line up the tape on my second roll pretty straight. I mean, it's never going to be 100% straight, but I just wanted to get it pretty straight. And I found that it was easier to pick a roll that is wider than your tape if you have one available. So I've just wrapped that around to get that started, and I'm going to pop that there. And off here to the side I've got some gloves, which I highly recommend if you don't want to end up with inky fingers. And then I've also got some alcohol inks in brownish tones. So I've got ginger, latte and caramel, and I think from memory you can actually get these three colours together in a pack. I've got a alcohol blending solution, and I've also got one of the daubers. Now, I don't use felt, I use a foam dauber on mine. That's just a personal preference. I find the felt, you get little fluffy bits and stuff coming off it, and over time it annoys me. And basically this one is always only used for browns, so I just keep it on there for the browns. So then I'm just going to apply some of my alcohol ink, and I sort of cover the length of the sponge, and I just let the colours mix on the sponge. Then once I've done that, I hold the new roll, the roll that I'm rolling to in this finger, and my old roll in my thumb. So I'm holding them together, and I haven't got a big piece of tape stretching them apart. They are flush up against each other. Then basically I just go round this roll with the ink, and then I just start rolling it onto my new roll. And you'll be able to see when you get to the end of where you've coloured before. And then I just start the next layer. Now, depending on what type of tape you have, the ink, because it's alcohol ink and alcohol's a solvent, it may affect the glue on the back of your tape, because you are rolling the glue back onto a piece of tape that you've coloured. So I don't know if over time that's going to break down the sticky part, but I was willing to risk it. And with a lot of the vintage tape that you find falling off envelopes and things like that, it is already actually falling off. It's not still stuck on there anyway. So to me it didn't matter if I had to use a little bit of glue to adhere it back onto the page. So you just keep going. Now, if you don't want to do a whole roll, you just want to have, a couple of meters, it wouldn't take you very long. It's, 5 minutes or so, and you'd have plenty, and then you can just keep that tape roll, this one, aside to use when you've run out. You can make up another couple of meters. And it's quite a sort of easy, mindless task. I actually just sat there and did the whole roll while I was watching something. I can't remember if I was watching it on YouTube or Netflix or something, but it didn't take that long. It was maybe half an hour to do the whole roll, and that's 20 metres. So that wasn't too bad. So let's just leave it there for the moment. So you can always just cut it off at the end and pop that one away for next time. And then bring in your sticky tape dispenser. Just take find my end. So there we go, and I've got my tape ready to go ahead and use on whatever I would like. And I like the fact that, I'll tell you about this piece in a minute, but I really like the fact that it's sort of a little bit mottled and not all the same tone. I really quite like that. So now, you know, you've got an easy to use dispenser that you can just have on your desk, and whenever you feel the need to grab a bit, it's already done. Now you do get absolutely covered in ink if you're doing it this way, so either wear gloves, but I did find that when I had finished, I absolutely coated my hands in hand sanitizer and sort of gave them a good rinse at the sink, and most of it did come off. So that's how I have created my whole roll. If you don't want to do things like that, I've actually got a video on this somewhere on my channel, or our channel, sorry. But another thing that I like to use that gives you a really good easy way to get that faux vintage tape look is, this is glassine paper, and when you colour glassine paper with alcohol ink, this is probably not strong enough at the moment because it's a bit dry. I'm just going to pop a little bit more on here. When you colour glassine with alcohol ink, it actually goes through and colours both sides at the same time. Like, you'll get one side that's a lot more shiny than the other, but you can see straight through it. And when you adhere this down onto your page with a little bit of glue stick, this looks very authentically vintage as well. And you can just cut this into strips. So we'll just have this piece here. And of course, being alcohol ink, it dries relatively quickly. If this was my page that I wanted to stick it on, my fingers are a bit sticky from the ink. I can actually just apply a bit of glue stick and then lay that over the top and adhere that down that way. So that's another product that you can use if you don't want to go down the whole sticky tape path. So the last product I wanted to tell you about is this one here. So you can see this is a very even looking sort of vintagey tone. It's probably a little bit more yellow than I would like for my vintage stuff. It's still perfectly fine though, but it's all one tone. You don't get that sort of difference. This one is very sort of mottled compared to this one. But that product there is actually, it's like a heat proof tape that we use in sublimation printing. So you buy it on a roll like this, and it's already this colour that you can use. It comes in different widths, from super skinny, I think about 3 millimeters, all the way up to like almost packing tape size. But it is quite expensive to purchase it, but you use such a small amount, it might not be, you know, it might work out just as cheap in the end as buying all the inks and colouring your tape, or buying the Tim Holtz stickers or whatever. So that's another option as well. There are different brands like of this, and I don't know what all the colours are going to look like, but this one here, which I just got off eBay, was just a heat transfer tape for sublimation printing. So that was my quick little share on how I created this faux vintage sellotape. Yes, doing a whole roll will take you a little bit of time, but then you'll have it forever. Well, maybe not forever, but for ages and ages. Or you could just do a couple of metres at a time, and that would still last quite a while. So I hope you'll give it a go, and I hope that answers all the questions. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you again next time.